So she's the youngest, thinnest comic, and please welcome on stage Abby November.
You heard him say youngest, prettiest, and skinniest, right? Okay. What's the matter? You never saw a Jew before? My husband said to take off this wig, and I said, what wig? Anyway, I take that off. Yeah, there I am. How many of you remember Ink a Dink-a-Doo? You're all young. Yeah, you're an alta-cockatoo. Ink a Dink-a-Doo. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Jimmy Durante, may you rest in peace with the schnozola, and all you young people can go with Lindsay Lohan for all I care. All right, it's a very scary, now this is very scary. It's very scary. There's very scary things out besides your wig. There's ISIS, Ebola, the Kardashians. Man, that is scary shit. Oh, excuse me. And my granddaughter watches that. Terrible craziness. I guess this is not the time of year. I was just going to put out my new product, E-Cola. It's a new drink. I don't really think they're ready for E-Cola. That's really sick, isn't it? Really sick, yeah. So I'm Jewish, like you can't tell, and world's greatest bubby. That means grandma in Yiddish. How many people have a grandma, or were a grandma, or knew a grandma? That is the greatest job. Greatest job. No, there's a grandma there. Give her a big hand all the way from Perth, West Australia. I love you, mates. I love you, mates. Only I got a New York accent, and they said to me when I got off the plane in Perth, "You're from Canada, aren't you?" And I said, "That's right. We all talk like this. Give me some water." Yeah, and give me a cup of coffee, and they said, "Oh, those Canadians." And then all of a sudden they drove me, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm on the wrong side of the car. What is wrong with you? Because you guys drive on the wrong side of the road." "No, mates, you'll drive on the..." Anyway, I was there in '82. I'm sure Perth has changed tremendously. It's one of the prettiest. Really, not much. You have great casinos. I love casinos. California is great. You've got beautiful sea, and you have the beautiful mountains, and you have casinos. So I'm driving to a casino, go in there, it says loosest sluts in town. I went up to the manager, "What is this, loosest sluts?" "You mean sluts?" He says, "We have those too." Those of you don't know about my little fetish. I like to gamble at the old one-arm bandit. I don't tell my husband how much I lose. I said, "I had a great day at the office today. I came home with my underwear on." And that's not funny. I was wearing Depends. So this old man was sitting next to me at a really hot machine, and I said to him, "Sir, you really need to go to the men's room," because he's been there for hours. I was watching the machine, one jackpot after another. I said, "Go to the men's room. I wanted to get this action." I said, "Go to the men's room." And he looked at me and he said, "Depends." You know, I feel the warmth in this room, Michael. I know I feel it. That's why I wear Depends. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I want to share with you, even Maria didn't know this. Where is she?
I'm here.
Okay, that tall, beautiful girl. Anyway, I had a really bad first marriage. I was very, very young. It didn't work out. He was much older. I was very young. Why? I was very naive. I didn't even see a hoo-ha, a schlong, until I was like 18. Don't they have schlongs in Australia? What do you call it? Peckers? Big ones? They have big ones. You know, well, I come from Texas now. They're very big. They carry them down on the floor like... Anyway, so I was very, very naive, and I was married to a much older man than Michael. He must have been about 100 and I don't know what.
At least.
And you know, the first year of any relationship, sir, It's very, very difficult. It's very, very hard when he's not. But I believe in marriage. You can look at this face. Look at this face that only a mother could have loved. Or as they say, a face made for radio. And so I wanted to get married again because I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and you know, you didn't screw around and tell people like you do now. So I wanted to get married, so I went on the web. I know the web wasn't there, but work with me now. This is and it was, there's a whole website. What's your name, cutie pie? What's
Harry.
Harry? Well, it was www.harryschlungsandthings.com. And that's where I met my second husband. Well, that's not really true, but that's how I met him, because I believe in the good institution of marriage, and been happily married for many, many decades. Although it seems like many, many decades. I think it was only 5 years. Anyway. And I wanted to spice things up, because even though I'm a real hot girl, you could tell that, Harry, right? You know, I read Cosmo magazine. What's your name?
Adam.
Adam. Adam met Harry. Okay, so I wanted to spice things up. So Cosmo says, greet your partner at the door wearing nothing but saran wrap. So I did. And he said, leftovers. Again? And I still read that stupid magazine, so I read Cosmo. I think it was 1955, and it said, men reach a peak at 18 and women at 35. They're not referring to years, they're referring to minutes. Now, my husband thinks I go from 0 to 60 like that in 18 minutes. Well, sometimes I stall. I'm an older woman, you know. So getting back to Grandma, I grew up in a small town in northeast Brooklyn. And as I said, Grandma was a bubba, because I'm Jewish, and that's what they call them, you know, complete with the stockings underneath the knees rolled up and the house dress and everything else. But she had some good rules for the road. She said, if you eat in the dark while standing, you'll never gain weight. Then she said, marry the man that gives you the biggest ring. Well, I have hearing aids. They don't work. And I thought she said, marry the man with the biggest thing. Then she said, marry your own kind. I said, Bubby, the women don't want me. I know we're talking about gay marriage and all that, yeah. So grandchildren are great. I have 4 of them. I should have had them first. They're just terrific. The little shits are too honest, though. My grandson's looking at my wedding picture, and I was, you know that, I told you I was hot. Bubby, you were beautiful. What happened? And my older granddaughter said, she's still beautiful, she just has more skin. She says, what's that? I said, that's a flotation device. Will I get one when I'm very old like you? I said, only if you inhale. And then she says, why don't you use oil of Oive? I see it advertised. I said, it doesn't work. Then I'm standing in the swimming pool with a grandson, which is scary, and I know he's looking at me. He's scary, right? Halloween. And he says, Bubby, what are those blue lines on your legs? But I had an answer for him. I said, you know how I get lost when I drive? So I had the map of San Diego tattooed on my legs. Here's Tijuana. Here's the zoo. And here's the border. And he believed that. Really crazy. But then, talk about Halloween and getting scared. I took my 15-year-old granddaughter to get a bra, and I decided I'd try one on with her, you know, lift up the girls. my girls, and she's looking at me and her mouth is dropped. She says, "Oh my God, they're so long." And I said, "Well, when you get older, things go south. And then they keep going south, not to Australia, but they keep going down." And she says, "You're scaring me, Bubby." And then it occurs to her, she said, "Do you get undressed in front of Grandpa?" And I said, "Only when I want to scare him." So have a good Halloween. Boo, boo, boo. Practice safe sex, because you're all sick stooks from an ish.